Hey, how's it going everyone? It's me, it's Jinsula, and welcome to another Pokemon GO raid guide video. Today we're going to be covering the electric and flying type legendary Pokemon Zapdos. This is, unfortunately, the hardest out of the 3 legendary birds, but I'm going to be telling you how you can defeat this boss with the least number of trainers as possible, as well as provide you with the exact right counters. Alright, so with that said, let's roll the intro and get right into it. Alright, let's dive right in. So, Zapdos is a flying and electric type Pokemon, which means it's going to have very few weaknesses, but a lot of different resistances. This means this Pokemon is going to be extremely difficult to defeat, especially compared to Articuno and Moltres. Zapdos only has 2 weaknesses, and they are going to be rock types and ice types. The nice thing about this is that if you were using rock types against Moltres or Articuno, you can use the same exact lineup against Zapdos and you should be okay. So here are the absolute best counters that you could bring. And the nice thing is, all of these counters can be considered budget counters as well. The first of these is of course going to be Mega Aerodactyl, considering that it is a Mega Evolution with the rock typing. Using this Pokemon will boost up all of the other rock types in your raid party, so do keep that in mind. If you have yourself a Mega Aerodactyl, make sure you communicate with your raid mates that they should use rock type Pokemon so that you could boost up their damage. Now another Mega Evolution that you could use that would be extremely effective against Zapdos is of course going to be the Ice type Mega Evolution, Mega Abomasnow. This is one of those tried and true Pokemon to use, but you will want to be careful because if Zapdos has any kind of flying type attack, well, it's going to completely melt down Mega Abomasnow. But aside from those Megas, you should go with a team that consists of a bunch of Rampardos or Mamoswine, considering that both of these deal just an insane amount of DPS, and this is going to be a bit of a DPS race. And that is of course because Zapdos actually has quite a lot of HP and defense, which is something you should not ignore. This Pokemon is going to be very difficult for you to defeat if you are not prepared for it. Also, make sure you are paying attention to what Mega Evolutions are going to be used during this raid battle. Like, if your friends are going to be using Mega Aerodactyl, then make sure you top load your team with a whole bunch of Rampardos, and if they're going with Mega Abomasnow, then you will obviously want to go with a whole bunch of Mamoswine. Now at the time that I record this video, Shadow Mamoswine was made available, so if you have yourself a bunch of Shadow Mamoswine, that will definitely be a lot better for you to bring. Now aside from these 2 Pokemon, you could also go with Rhyperior, considering that it is a tried and true rock type. That is of course if you use the Community Day move Rock Wrecker, and that is going to make this Pokemon a very good rock type attacker. There is also Terrakion and Tyranitar. Both of those Pokemon are going to be extremely useful against this boss, and of course, if you have yourself any Shadow Tyranitar, you should definitely consider bringing those as long as you have the Community Day move Smackdown. Getting a perfect IV of this Pokemon will require you to get one that is 2015, and if it's weather boosted, it is going to be 2519. And of course, Zapdos is an electric and flying type Pokemon, which means it's only going to be boosted by 2 kinds of weather boosts, and that is of course going to be windy weather, which will affect the flying type attacks, and then of course rainy weather, which will affect the electric type attacks. If you want yourself a weather boosted version of this Pokemon, definitely go out and raid whenever these weather boosts are available. Now, considering that both Articuno and Moltres can be done with just 2 trainers, a lot of players think that Zapdos is going to be equally as easy, but unfortunately this boss is actually quite difficult compared to the other 2, which means you will need more trainers than you would typically bring. In order to securely defeat this boss, I would say you will need at least 5 trainers that are at least level 35 with the right counters, and if you want to challenge yourself, go with just 2 other trainers and make sure you are using the best counters and you have anything like friendship bonuses and best buddy Pokemon bonuses, because you will definitely need it. Zapdos is a very powerful electric type Pokemon, but unfortunately there's just a lot of really good electric types that are going to outclass this Pokemon. There are Pokemon like Raikou, Electivire, and Zekrom that deal just a little bit more damage than Zapdos, and that's really unfortunate because this is of course one of the most iconic legendary Pokemon that's currently in the game. But at the very least, Zapdos does have a shiny form available, so whenever this raid boss is out, you should definitely raid them in order to get the shiny, and if you have a bunch of shinies already, then make sure you're stocking up because it is a bit of a collector's item. Much like Articuno and Moltres, this shiny is kind of rare considering how old Zapdos is. So I highly suggest you get as many shiny Zapdos as you possibly can, even though it is not meta relevant considering the collection value of it. And there will always be players who are looking for this shiny. Much like what I said about Articuno, this is one of those Pokemon that frequently comes up when it comes to lucky trades. So if you want a really good trade chip, this is a shiny that you should stock up on. And also, like I mentioned in the Articuno video, this is a Pokemon that does have a shadow form that was released quite some time ago. If you happen to have a shadow version of this Pokemon, it will be considered top tier in a lot of raid battles that are weak against electric types, so you will want to make sure you farm up as much candy and as much XL candy as you possibly can so that you could max out that shadow version of this Pokemon. That is going to take you really far considering that it will end up dealing more DPS than most of the electric types out there, and that is something you should not ignore. Right, so in conclusion, this boss is the hardest out of the legendary birds, but unfortunately it is not meta relevant, so it's not necessarily high pressure for you to go out and get 100% of this Pokemon, but it would be a really cool collector's item. Considering that this Pokemon doesn't often come back to raid battles, I highly suggest you raid it anyway whenever it is in raid battles because of the value of the shiny as well as the value of this Pokemon being an old Pokemon. If you happen to get one that's under 1500 CP, it could still be useful in the Great League, but there really is no opportunity for you to get a version of this Pokemon that's at that low level, but if you are lucky enough to have one, it's still a good Pokemon to use. That is, of course, if you are lacking in other Pokemon that are going to be even better for the Great League. But in any case, yeah, this was my raid guide for the legendary Pokemon Zapdos. I would love to know your thoughts regarding this Pokemon and this guide down below. Was there a tip that I completely missed? Definitely let me know and let's have a great discussion. And if it's your first time here to my YouTube channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well as that little bell so you stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support my channel in any way, then do go check out the links in the description below. For all of my patrons, they get the benefit of being on my friends list in Pokemon GO. So if you want to interact with me in some way within Pokemon GO, or if you want to remote raid with me, then do go and check out my Patreon page and consider becoming a patron. Alright, and that's going to be it. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.